Hey guys, welcome to Dragon Ball Super Review Episode 4, Pilaf Padding. Again, of course, this isn't the episode title, but to be honest, by the end of this you'll probably agree with me that it should have been. I'm going to skip out a couple of little bits just because they're not even worth mentioning, but I'm just going to try and hop over it because to be honest with you, this episode didn't excite me very much and I'm sure the review probably isn't going to excite most of you, so let's just get on with it. Beerus and Whis are heading to Kaiosama's. That is pretty much the episode. I was tempted to do like I did for episode 2 with this, where I just said Vegeta went on holiday and was cranky because that was pretty much all that happened in it. Bar them showing off that Beerus and Whis could destroy a couple of random aliens. In the padding, Kaiosama is convincing Goku to go to Bulma's to make sure he doesn't find out about Beerus. We then switch over to Bulma's party setup and 18 asked about Bulma and about the prizes, blah blah blah, gold digging comedy segment. I don't really mind this because I suppose it does explain 18's character a little bit more. I'm fine with this, it's giving her a little bit more of a background into not being an android, you know, just generally being her. So I'm cool with that. But and then we go to another traditional, as you already know I don't like, Goten and Trunks segment that we've already seen in the movie where they're digging around the prizes and stuff. Pilaf and his gang are using a dragon radar and it detects them when Goten and Trunks start messing around with the top prize, which is of course the Dragon Balls. The children versions of Pilaf's gang, not explained in Super for whatever reason why they're children, but I do remember them saying in the movie that they got themselves a wish granted, and Pilaf yelling, "Shenron, please make us young again." Mai going in to take the piss out of it, but then Shu going on to admit the younger you are in dog years is the better, and there's no point ruling the world if you're old. But once again, this is the series and not the movie, so if it's not explained in this, it's no longer canonical to Dragon Ball Super. But again, like I said in my other video, feel free to watch the movie up to this point because you're not really missing much. Goten and Trunks end up saving Pilaf's gang from a sinking boat on the way over to Bulma's yacht. And they decide to feed them some nice food to make sure they're okay. Pilaf doesn't seem to recognise Goten as Goku, which is odd considering once again in the movie they freak out at the sight of Goten. Vegeta is training, Bulma demands he gets to the party, Vegeta sulks. Goku fires his first Kamehameha of the series. And then Goku finds out that Kaiosama's trying to hide a secret from him, eventually finds out it's Beerus. Episode ends when Beerus and Whis turn up. Kaiosama says hello. What a roller coaster of emotion that was! Ugh, another padded out episode. You know, I use the term padding, I mean a lot of this stuff technically it was in the movie, and it was only slightly padded in places, but just think that all of those little bits that I just hopped over, they managed to fit all of that into 20 minutes. So, as you can imagine, they were dragging an awful lot of stuff out. The animation was slightly strange at times, incredibly thick lines on the trim of the characters. It reminded me a lot of the side story animation in the Janemba movie. You know, when Goten and Trunks were fighting Hitler and they had all these really cartoony looking bullets and stuff where they're all multicoloured and stuff firing into the air. I can imagine it looks kind of off-putting if you're not used to seeing that kind of animation and mixed with the Dragon Ball Super stuff. I have a little bit of a slight rant to make at this point because look, I get that Dragon Ball at its core is incredibly comical and I'm fine with that. But when Dragon Ball Z is the integral part of the franchise that made it so popular and successful, it goes to show that the major audience loved a lot of the seriousness too. I'm not saying I want to sub one for one, I don't want to say that I want to replace the comedy with seriousness, but there comes a point when you start to alienate your audience. And now, I love Dragon Ball, but as a whole there's no denying that the franchise wouldn't have been so popular had it not been for Dragon Ball Z. So I'm really hoping that they just don't forget that there is still a large audience that loved the tension and grittiness that was in there. I mean, even Dragon Ball had its dark moments, what with Piccolo, but I'm skeptical just because I know how much later it is now than obviously when that was made, and the Japanese animation have changed a lot of their rules about what they want to be broadcasting and stuff. So I'm really concerned that we're not going to get the same feel out of Dragon Ball Super as we might want. Now I can't speak for everybody because I know a lot of people love the comedy stuff and I love the comedy stuff as well. I mean, I love the comedy stuff in all of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and even some of it in GT. But I don't want it replacing the seriousness. I don't want it to only be comedy. So, you know, that's just something that I'm a little bit concerned about. But also, on a serious note, it's worth noting that Kaiosama's voice acting has been a bit off during his episodes in the series thus far. And if you look back to when this episode came out, And yet it's even still happening now as people tune into the early episodes, much like I'm reviewing at the moment. People are chatting a lot of shit about Yoji Anime's voice acting. If you check out Geekdom 101 on YouTube, he actually has posted a video on the current status of Yoji Anime, going on to say how he's 83 years old and he's rumoured that he's possibly sick. He goes on to explain how unlikely it is to actually replace a Japanese voice actor. It's a good watch, and I definitely recommend you go and check that out, because if you're actually interested in knowing a bit more of the sort of behind the scenes stuff, because of course it's very rare that you actually get this kind of information crop up. So I recommend going and watching that. But anyway guys, that's pretty much it for this review. So leave a like, comment and subscribe to start training on World King Kanji's planet. I'll catch you all later.